Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for finding time to join this webinar from my SAS team. The webinar is about SAS9 content assessment. We're going to have a presentation and a demo from Stefan Stoyanov. Stefan Stoyanov is Associate Data Scientist here at Analytium. And without further ado, Stefan, over to you.
Thank you, Vasily, and welcome everyone to our webinar. Without further ado, let's start with our presentation. Sorry. So you may be looking to upgrade your SAS 9.4 environment for a variety of reasons. The latest release of SAS 9.4 M7 or to SAS Viya or to new hardware. This can be a bit daunting at times. It may be difficult to know how the best, which is the best way to start, which is why we present to your attention today the SAS9 content assessment tool. It is a suite of applications that are designed to help you plan an upgrade, a migration, or to track the ways your environment is being used. The information you get from the SAS9 content assessment helps you to reduce both risk and effort. There are four main applications in the SAS9 content assessment designed to help you understand your SAS9 system. They work on SAS 9.4. The first one is SAS9 inventory, which gives you a high-level understanding of what exists in your SAS9 environment. The SAS9 profile provides a deeper dive into the characteristics of the items identified in the inventory. For example, like how are the structures of my jobs? The SAS9 code check, which points out issues with your existing SAS code that may prohibit it from running in SAS Viya. And the SAS9 system evaluation, which identifies potential issues for SAS9 for upgrades, including an upgrade in place. The SAS9 content assessment tool initially started with these four applications. Nevertheless, it is updated regularly to improve the ability of content to migrate to Viya seamlessly. The focus in new releases is on the content items used most, so that those features most valuable to customers are going to be available in Viya. Other features may not transfer, but there are functionally equivalent ways to implementing them. SAS9 Content Assessment Suite is updated every month. There are new applications added to the SAS9 Content Assessment Suite this year. Here are some of them. They focus on helping to prepare and plan for the successful migration of SAS 9.4 to SAS Viya. The SAS 9 summarizes SAS log steps, analyzes the SAS 9 logs, and generates data in the form of a report to help you understand the real-time and CPU time for each SAS program step. The SAS program step with the longest running real times have the best opportunities for optimization. By specifying a real-time threshold, you can benchmark which engine in SAS Viya is appropriate for each SAS program step, the compute server or the CAS server. The SAS9 code check for internationalization attempts to find non-internationalization issues in SAS programs. Internationalization I-18N is a process by which a program is optimized so that it can be adapted to any language or region without needing to be rewritten. Later this year, new planning features will be added to SAS9 content assessment. The first one here will discuss your SAS Grid migration. SAS Grid is a very popular SAS offering. Many customers are using it, so SAS9 content assessment will help you to plan more the migration of SAS Grid. Also, additional planning for SAS scheduling will be added, particularly around DI studio jobs. A couple of releases ago, a profile for scheduling was added. With the next releases, the profile will dig down deeper and break down the triggers, so you can answer questions like what times are things scheduled or what files may they depend on, etc. Now let's have a look at each of the SAS9 content assessment application mentioned earlier in more detail. The SAS9 inventory looks at SAS metadata server objects contained in SAS folders, SAS server and SAS application server context, content produced by SAS products located on the file system, content produced by SAS product located on the SAS content server, SAS deployment registry information, and SAS licensing status information. It can be run as needed on multiple SAS deployments. For each deployment that is inventoried, it creates a data mart that is used for reporting, as you can see in the image on the screen. The reporting is done in SAS Visual Analytics. If you don't have SAS Visual Analytics VA7.5 on SAS9.4 or VA8.3 or higher on SAS Viya, Analytium can help you with the reporting. This works both for Linux and Windows any make from 1 to 7 deployments. The second tool is the SAS9 profile. This provides an in-depth view of the details of your SAS environment to help you plan migration of content and know what will work in your target state. For example, it will provide details on content produced by SAS products in SAS metadata servers such as SAS libraries and tables, SAS stored processes, SAS prompts and SAS prompt groups, SAS data integration jobs, transformation and generated transforms, SAS information maps and SAS all-up cubes, SAS web report studios and SAS visual analytic reports, content produced by SAS products on the SAS content server, and various other SAS artifacts. Reporting is done in SAS Visual Analytics on Viya, with pre-built reports that provide a drill down into different elements of your SAS environment. For example, this overview report answers questions like what number of reports, cubes, libraries, jobs, etc. are we using? And if you want more detail, you can drill in the features like all-up cubes, for example. This report summarizes some of the details for all the cubes created. By knowing what features were used to create the cubes, you can understand the features that are important to consider as you plan your move to SAS Viya. When you're ready to move to Viya, your migration will be much smoother if you know what programs will work without any modifications. The code check, which runs on SAS 9.4 M5 or later, looks at any SAS programs and identifies program elements that are not supported in the compute server for SAS Viya, as well as hard-coded path names that may not be replicated in SAS Viya. Reporting on the results is surfaced again in SAS Visual Analytics. When you're doing an upgrade, many items may cause issues. For example, you may not have the correct software order or configuration files may not be valid. The SAS9 system evaluation tool looks for the issues that commonly cause problems. Identifying and mitigating issues with the help of Analytium before starting an upgrade will reduce risk and the time takes to complete. Working with Analytium, this information will help identify if there are reasons why an upgrade is in place will not be possible for your environment, which is helpful to find out before you try something that could damage your environment. The tool works again on any 9.4 installation from M1 to M7, and the reports are displayed in HTML in any browser. Depending on what you're needing to do, you will leverage different applications as demonstrated in this slide. We recommend building the assessment reports in SAS Viya to consistently access the reports, although some are also accessible in SAS VA7.5 on SAS 9.4. And now it's time for our demo, where I'll show you how the SAS9 content assessment tool works. First, we will start with demonstrating the SAS9 inventory content assessment. I will show you two commands. The first one runs the inventory assessment, and the second command publishes the assessed inventory content into a data mart. It can then easily be imported in SAS Viya to display the assessment results in a SAS Visual Analytics report. We'll then run the SAS9 profile content assessment tool in a similar fashion. The first command will run the profile content assessment, and the second command will publish the assessment result into a data mart, which later can be previewed in SAS Visual Analytics on SAS Viya. To assess the SAS code, we will first need to gather the SAS code using the first command displayed here. The second command scans the gathered code, and the third command again prepares the assessment results in a data mart so that they can be easily imported and displayed as a SAS Visual Analytics report. And the SAS9 system evaluation tool needs only one command to be run. Let me change the screen to my browser. Before I start the demonstration, I just wanted to show you where you can download the SAS9 content assessment tool. As you can see, the latest release is of September, and you can select the file depending on your operating system where you're running your SAS9 platform. Now, if I go to my mobile Xterm application, here I uploaded the SAS9 content assessment installation package in my SAS9 directory, and this is the command that you need to run in order to unpack all the packages and all the files that are needed and all the applications that are needed for the assessment, and they will be stored in this assessment folder. So you can see here, for example, the different applications, inventory content, or code check, for example. Now, before you start the running the applications, you need to set up some of the configuration files. For example, the metaparms SAS file, where you will need to provide a name for your company, for example, the server, the metadata, server host, and the password and of the username to access the environment. Also, in the set env file, you would need to provide information about your SAS home directory, your config directory, the enterprise guide project directory, for example. If you have such, you can also add the SAS catalog directory, and if you want, you can add a path list with destination which you only want to be assessed. After you add this information, you can start with the running the applications. And here I already have run the first application, inventory content, and what you see here on the screen is that first some checks of the environment are implemented, and then at the end the program, the application says where you can see the log file about the execution of the inventory, and that you need to create a data mart to store the data sets that are produced by the inventory content assessment application. Here I have run the publish assessed content, where I specify the data mart inventory, and at the end it says that the data mart was successfully published, where it is stored, and where I can see the log for the execution of this application. In a similar fashion, you run the profile content application, and you again, for each application, run similar publish content command with where you specify the data mart type. For example, you instead of inventory, you will have profile for the profile data mart, and so on. Next, I have run the summarized log steps application, where I need to specify every time you run this application, you need to provide a scan tag for every time we run the application and the source location. So this will produce data sets with information about the run, the CPU time, and the total run time of your SAS steps. Here we see the gather code application. I displayed here all the different command options that are available, so you can have a look at them, and you can specify location that can be scanned, or you can just gather the code from all the available code by specifying the all option. Here you see the code check application with all the available command options. It is run in a similar way like the summarized log steps. You see here scan tag and source location. In a similar way, we have a scan tag option and source location for the code check application. And these are the different command options for the internationalization code check application, where you need to provide again a scan tag for every time when you run it and the source location. Now let's go back to our browser, where I would like to show you I'm logged in SAS Viya, and I have opened the SAS Environment Manager application, which you can locate in the hamburger menu on the upper left corner. Here you see Manage Environment. Here under the Data tab, you would need to upload the data marts for the data produced from the different applications. By the way, I forgot actually to show you where you can find them. For example, in the data mart, you can see for each application, for example, in the inventory, and here you see the data sets for this data produced by this application. And you would upload these data sets to a destination where you want them to be. For example, here it is, I uploaded them into the public CAS lib, and from the content tab, you will be able to upload the packages that contain the pre-built reports, which are a result of the applications when you run them. Just you click import, and with few clicks, you will be able to import them. Now let's preview quickly some of the reports that that you have in SAS Visual Analytics. The first report is the report produced by the SAS9 Inventory Content Assessment tool. And here you see information about the high-level information about the different products and application artifacts that are on your SAS9 system. For example, you see the portfolio, the different portfolios, the stable offerings, and the number of products that are available. If you go to drill to counts, for example, you will see the different type of artifacts that you have. You'd also be able to see the path and the type, or you can see the software version and hot fix infos, the software license info. For example, when is the expiration date? You can see the version and so on. In the SAS SAS9 profile report, you see more details about the different elements of your SAS9 platform. You see, for example, that we have 185 DI Studio jobs, and I can open the DI Studio Jobs tab to see more information, more details about the DI Studio jobs. You can see more details about the job name, the job ID, when it was created, when it was updated. You can see the frequency of weeks since last update, the DI job studios updated per day, and so on. As we mentioned, the SAS9 summarized SAS log steps provides information about the max real time and the CPU time that is related to your SAS steps, and you see the total logs summarized, the success, how many of them are successfully summarized and how many of them are not summarized. You see the the maximum real time, the maximum CPU time. If I click on the clock times, you will see details about the each SAS step, from which log file, what was the real time, the CPU time, the name of the date step, and if it's a candidate for optimization or no. It is based on the threshold that you specify here, specify optimization minimum for real time in minutes. The threshold by default is 30 minutes, and in this case, we don't have optimization candidate. Looks like most of the steps run fast enough. But for example, just for demonstrate, I can change the optimization minimum real time to 7, and now you see that the first data step here is a candidate is marked as a candidate for optimization because it's real time, it's more than 7 minutes. You can see summarized information about the steps that are found and the frequency. Not surprised, the data step is most frequent, and you can see which logs are not available and what is the reason. For example, we saw here in the overview that a lot of logs were not summarized, and here you can see what the reason is, and we can see that most of the majority of the logs are just not valid as logs. Or I can filter to see that there are some logs with encoding mismatch. Let's have a look at the other report, SAS9 code check, which is very important report for all our clients who want to migrate, so they can see what is the total number of programs, which program, how many programs are incompatible, how many of them are compatible, how many issues are need review, the total number of statements, the total line of code, and I can preview more details about the programs that are incompatible, and I can see by category, by element. For example, I see here that some X commands are not calls for the programs to be not compatible, and if I double click, I can see more details and for the reason why this code is incompatible with SAS Viya. We have also a tab for compatible programs. It is good to have a preview, to be able to preview them, although they are compatible. Maybe some of them have hard-coded paths that will be that needs to be previewed before commencing any migration. So we have a review of the hard-coded paths, again by SAS program element. And now from the latest release of the SAS9 content assessment tool, we have some tabs which are review of warnings. In this case, we don't have warnings, but in general, warnings means that these are program files that are not flagged as incompatible, but it's good for the SAS administrator to preview them with the user and decide whether they need more attention and to be modified before prior migration. We have a review of the library engines here as well by library engine, and items that are not checked. In this case, they're not such. You can explore details about the step types and the number of the count for each step type and so on. And we have two system evaluation reports here that are produced by the system evaluation SAS9 system evaluation tool. The first one provides a metadata topology of your SAS9 system, and the second one is very useful for our customers because they can see if there are any issues with the SAS9 deployment. For example, it provides information about the issues found and some guidelines, for example, if they need some support or to preview some documentation. So how to cope with this problem. And by knowing what are the issues, they can be addressed before any upgrade in place to prevent any damage on your system. So these were the applications and the reports that we previewed today. And if I go back to my slides, just to recap, we can summarize the main takeaways from the demo of the SAS9 content assessment tools that we previewed. The first one is the SAS9 inventory. And the main takeaways here are that it can be run on multiple SAS9 deployments, creating a data mart for each inventory. The inventory application finds and counts various SAS artifacts and content on your SAS9 system. We found this information to be very useful when comparing the contents of source and target environments before and after promotional migration for our clients. The profile application, again, provides information about the features that have been used in your SAS9 4 system, but it drills down into the detail of your SAS artifacts, reporting on detailed characteristics, such as the structures of the jobs and hierarchies in OLAP cubes. It also looks at enterprise guide, enterprise project, and displays information about any object dependencies. Profile can also be run as needed in multiple SAS deployments. And like inventory, it creates a data mart for each deployment that is profiled. The code check is designed to assist with modernizing your SAS9 platform to SAS Viya. The application analyzes SAS code files stored on the file system and looks for elements and procedures that may be incompatible with SAS Viya. The SAS9 4 environment on which it runs must be running maintenance release 5 or later. The system evaluation tool can be very impactful in reducing upgrading place issues caused by existing problems in the environment. While not a guarantee of success, running it prior to commencing an in-place upgrade will forewarn of potential issues and provide an opportunity for remediation, which increase the likelihood of a smooth and successful upgrade. Running system evaluation should therefore be incorporated into upgrading place plans as an important preliminary steps. Ensure that sufficient time is allowed for remediation of detected issues that could adversely affect an upgrade. When considering migrating, promoting, upgrading, or modernizing your SAS9 4 environment, being sufficiently prepared is the key. A SAS9 content assessment application can help, and they should be run prior to commencing these activities as part of the planning and preparation steps. So, once you have executed all these applications and summarized the results in comprehensive reports, you will feel much better equipped and prepared to do a migration from SAS9 4 to SAS Viya. You will have a clear understanding of what you have on your SAS9 4 platform and how you're using it, as well as which code will work in SAS Viya and which will not. Now, you can migrate, but how do you go about it? As we saw during the SAS9 content assessment process, you will discover SAS code that needs to be changed, as well as code with hard-coded paths. These instances could be thousands, and it will be costly and slow to implement the needed change and migrate them piece by piece manually. Therefore, you need some kind of automation. We at Analytium are here to help you. We have developed our proprietary toolset that will help you to automate the process of code changes and hard-coded paths to speed up your efficient migration to SAS Viya while significantly minimizing your migration costs. This marks the end of our presentation, and now over to you, Vasily, for our Q&A session.
Stefan, thank you very much for an excellent presentation. Let me check about questions. I got one of the questions. Is there a way to change the code that needs to be changed prior to commencing migration to SAS Viya?
Yes, as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, at Analytium, we have our own developed tool that we use to automatically change the code and the data and migrate the code and data to the target environment, and even synchronizing the old and new environments during a parallel testing phase.
Makes sense. And I just missed one question. How long does it take to run the assessment?
It really depends on your metadata footprint. Depending, so for example, how many STPS, maps, OLAP cubes, or DI Studio jobs. Runtimes will range from 10 minutes to hours, even 20 hours, depending on the size of the content that you have.
Okay. And some customers, they have SAS installed on the mainframe. Can it be run on the mainframe?
Yes, it can be run on Xeos mainframe.
Excellent. And next one, if customer doesn't have a SAS Viya to visualize reports, can they do it?
Yes, we can visualize the data for you on our platform. The data can be encrypted and transferred securely, so you don't need to worry about any data protection.
All right, so the same platform that you showed just now can be used for our, okay, makes sense.
Yes.
All right, and I think the last question that I have, does the assessment contain any sensitive data?
No, the assessment actually hides all the personally identifying data or passwords, so you don't need to worry about it.
Excellent. So let me check the chat and the Q&A session for anything else that might pop up. No, I think this is it. So
Right.
Yes, ready to upgrade and migrate, indeed. I would like to do a very quick plug for Analytium. So Analytium is a focused SAS partner for SAS UK. We also work with SAS Belgium, SAS France, and a number of other regions. We're very much a SAS specialists, and we are here to help you to assess or migrate a platform or resolve any other issues you might possibly have with your SAS9 installation. So thank you very much for everyone for coming. The recording will be available on YouTube. If you have any other questions or need any other information, do reach out to us with the contact information provided on the screen.
Thank you too.
Stefan, thank you very much.
Thank you, Vasily. And thanks to our audience for attending this webinar. Wish you a very good Friday and weekend. Bye-bye.